Wendy.
Welcome back.
And Pam.
I'm Pam.
We just wanted to say that we did have a nice weekend. I went down to the coast, didn't I? And you went to a barbecue.
I went to a lovely barbecue, which was really wonderful.
Yeah, we had a lovely time, and I've got to say hi to my little grandson Atticus, and thank you for my beautiful stone that you got me off the beach, and I'll put it on my windowsill with my other crystals. Thank you, Atticus.
That's lovely.
Right, we're going to talk a little bit now about houses and how some of them are haunted. And believe it or not,
Someone's car alarm has just
someone's
gone off.
car alarm has just gone off, but hopefully it will end very soon. But I'd say to you all, please don't do Ouija boards to start with, because believe me, I have lifted an awful lot of pain and energy from people who've done Ouija boards. I've seen people commit suicide through Ouija boards. I've also seen a lot of pain and misery come into people's lives when they've done Ouija boards, and you don't recommend them, do you, Pam, either?
No, I've experienced situations and circumstances around somebody that's delved into Ouija boards, and believe me, it's never a good energy, is it? Never.
No, and I can send light into situations where people have done Ouija boards, but if you want to contact spirits, you need to do it through a medium who has a light, and they can channel spirit through, but also our guides can escort them back to the world beyond. So please never do Ouija boards, because it isn't the right way to contact spirits. And because there's a lot of trapped souls on the earth that are not at peace, if you do a Ouija board, then you can bring through a trapped soul, and then that trapped soul will stay within that darker energy, and it can feed off people, off their emotions, off their heads. So as I say, they're never a good thing to do.
No, that's right. It latches on, doesn't it, Wendy?
It
latches on to
latches
that
on.
person, and then they'll begin to experience lots of difficulties and probably sadness or illnesses, and it never is good, is it? That Ouija
No,
board
and
energy.
also there are poltergeists out there, and they're energies that feed off static energy, electricity. And I had a job many years ago, and it was in a sports centre, and when I applied for the job and the manager interviewed me, he actually said to me, he'd give me the job, but he said, I hope you're not afraid of ghosts, because he said, we've got one in the building. And believe me, it would turn taps on its own. It could appear in human form, and you could open the door. If you saw this old gentleman walking towards you, then it'd disappear. Heavy doors would open on their own, lifts would start up, TV would come on its own, lights would go on and off on its own, and it really was not a good energy to work with. And I hadn't opened up to spirit at that point, so they can get quite scary, and I even heard it through its voice over these phones that we had to have in the building. And my supervisor had gone down the stairs, and she said she doesn't know how it happened. It's as though someone had just got hold of her and pushed her. So as I say, poltergeists do exist in buildings, and they do feed off electricity and all those sort of energies, don't they, Pam?
Yeah, so when you start having strange happenings going on, believe me, they are very real, aren't they? They do exist, and you know, when things like that do start happening, it's not a good sign, is it?
And sometimes it is good, like, to have someone in a place, like a priest or somebody, to give a blessing so that soul can be at peace. I've also spoken to police officers, and they've told me that there's certain roads that they have had blessed, and they've had a blessing done on them, because they said, you know, they have experience where people are driving along and something in their head tells them to go faster and put their foot down more. And like you say, you get these black spots, but also they're not good energies, and also to give them a blessing is really important, isn't it?
That's right. That's the only way that will lift that energy and stop that happening again, isn't it? And I think we've talked about as well before, like when people commit suicide, which is what those energies can drive them to, isn't it? You know, and I think people who have maybe hung themselves, like if somebody is the first on the scene to actually sort of, you know,
When they
attend that body,
Yeah.
because they're in such a dark place when that happens, that can actually attach itself, can't it, onto that person that actually finds that person.
Yes, I know someone, and they were at the scene when someone committed suicide, and 6 months later they did. So that soul wasn't at peace, and then that attached it to that other person, and then they ended up committing suicide. So, you know, we must all be aware that these energies do exist. I've done house cleansing. I've been in haunted houses where spirits have been feeding off people's emotions. I've been in houses where spirits have made people achieve, but unfortunately the only way they can keep going is on pain and misery. So I think it's good to always be aware. If you move into a house and, you know, you start to feel different, set of circumstances start changing in you, you need to see and take account of what is happening in that house. And also, if you feel energy is not at peace or you see a ghost, contact a medium and they will be able to help you and tell you what to do. I do believe also, like in prisons, you know, a lot of people that do commit crimes and that, I believe they could have lived in a haunted house, and you know, they could be a perfectly normal person, go into a home where it could be haunted or there's not good energies in the house, and that can also result in them doing bad things. So I mean, I've had people that have been in prison where their families have come to me, and I've recommended that they get a blessing, and the cell does, and it does change their lives around. So I'd like to see prisons really work with the police, that, you know, give the prisoners a blessing, give the cells a blessing,
too.
and that would help them. And I think why so many people do go back is because those energies in the prison, they never get lifted, never. And I think also, you know, put bright colours around the prisoners, you know, have bright colours in the cells, you know, and work towards better energy for them too. But also, as I say, if you don't clear up dark energies, all those energies are going to do is manifest. So you do actually need, as I say, to bring in light wherever there is a dark energy. And sometimes you can go to a brand new house. It doesn't mean that the house is not brand new, but if that land that the house has been built on is not at peace, the house will never be at peace, will
No,
it?
that's right. Like you say, the energy when you go into somewhere, there's obviously a past that's there and happenings that have gone on there. So it's always good to cleanse a house, isn't it? Cleanse every room.
White sage,
yeah,
isn't
white
it?
sage. You can get sage bundles, which you can just light and leave them to smoulder, and then you can go and take them round all the corners of the rooms, can't they? Each of the rooms, and that will lift the energy, won't it, and cleanse it.
A dragon's blood as well, that's another good one for cleansing. But also, you know, I believe, and I know someone who works with the police, and they make up their mind if at that point when crimes are committed, if they're in their right mind. And I also said to her, look to see if they've lived somewhere different in the last year or two, and you know, they've gone into a house with not good energy, and that can affect these things that happen with people. So, you know, it's not a subject I enjoy talking about,
No,
but
it's very
I have,
real, isn't
yeah,
it?
I've worked with ghosts, I've experienced them, and when I started off on my pathway in the church, I actually had an energy that come to me, and it was with me for a week, and I experienced what that done to me and my mind in a week. And when I went to my circle, they noticed straight away that I had something feeding off me, and we channeled it through. So, you know, it was telling me that I could walk through a wall, it was telling me all these things that I knew I couldn't do, and I was getting smells and everything with it. So, you know, having that experience, it made me realise just how powerful some of these entities can be. So, you know, always seek professional help if you feel something is not right in your head or your home's not right, isn't it, Pam?
Definitely. And like you say, you can get professionals in to do a blessing. It may be that an energy is ready to be channeled through, isn't it? And I mean, I have had the experience of channeling energies through, haven't I, Wendy? You've taught me that. And you know, what you experience, those energies are very real. That's all I'm saying. They are very real, aren't they?
And also, it's like if something is if anyone gives you anything to hold and you feel a static energy go through your hand, then you know that something isn't right in that person's home, because you should not feel static energy. I've seen them feed off children, I've seen them feed off adults, and I know the pain and misery that they can cause. So always please be aware of what is happening to you, what is happening in your mind, and also what is happening in your house. And I think, you know, people became more aware, we could save a lot of crimes and a lot of pain and misery. And as I say, please never do Ouija boards, because it isn't the way to connect to spirit. You connect to spirit through a medium who has their guides and has their lights, and they can bring people through and take people back. And that is the only way that I'd ever recommend if you want to connect to the other side.
That's right. And when you think of those darker energies that have latched onto people, that have gone out and committed crimes and done those things and ended up in prison, when you think how many of those actually come out and reoffend, but quite simply it could be made different if they had a blessing in the prisons, in the cells, and it would make a tremendous difference. And also, as well, as we addressed in one of our previous videos about mental health, it's like when you're hearing something in your head, voices, it's not necessarily a mental illness, is it?
No,
there's other things for it, and like you say, those energies do exist, don't they?
Yeah, as I say, we felt we had to talk about this because it is an important subject to bring home to everyone. And you know, places are haunted, there are a lot of trapped souls. If people are in pain and misery when they die and they're not ready to let go, then they fight that pathway, and their souls can lurk on the earth plane for some considerable time. So as I say, you know, and if you meditate, always make sure you shut down properly, and you know, let nothing get in any way apart from good energy.
That's another important point, isn't it? Like when you do meditate, make sure you put that cloak of protection around you to protect you from any unwanted energies, because if you're open, if you've been opened and you've done a meditation, you are sort of opening up your energy field to any of those energies that are lurking around anywhere, aren't they? And trust me, they will latch on, won't they?
They will. So if you know, you find things are getting knocked off over very easily around you, it's like you're carrying a vibration of energy that you shouldn't be. And a lot of these energies, it's like you can think, oh, how did that get knocked over, or why has that happened? But bad vibrations of energy can do all that. So just be aware of all that. And if you feel your rooms are heavy, another sign to look for is if you go into a room and you feel really energized, and then all you want to do is fall asleep, then you know that the energy in that room is very draining, and it could be because there isn't good energy in there. So they're all good things to look for.
Yeah, and again, like a simple cleansing or placing of crystals in certain areas, it can all lift that energy, can't it?
It can. But what we're going to do next week, we're going to do an uplifting one. We're going to be the angels next week, not the dark energy, aren't we?
Wendy's angels next week, aren't we? So that's going to be a lot lighter, isn't it, than the darker energies.
We've got some beautiful angel costumes, aren't we?
Winging their way to us.
They're flying in for us, aren't they?
So, but this was a very important topic, and yeah, we weren't looking forward to talking about it, but it is very important that we put that information out there for you guys, so that you have a bit of knowledge and you are aware of what's going on around you.
And also, if you have a loved one or anyone who is in prison, you can always ask the chaplain at the prison to give them a blessing or bless their cell, and they will for you. So you know, it's a worrying time when your loved ones are going through traumatic times, but that would do nothing but good. It would uplift them, and it would also uplift the cells. So ask the prison to get the prison chaplain to do a blessing, and that
it will make a world of difference, won't
yeah.
it? Make a world of difference. Like you say, you know, you've had experience in the past and it's actually turned their life around, isn't it?
It has indeed, yeah. And you could also, you can get some priests that will come out and bless your home if you think there isn't good energy in it, and bless you. So don't ignore these things. Take them on board and do something about it. And as I say, it can cut out a lot of pain and misery in people's lives.
Yeah. We don't want the pain and the misery and the suffering.
We want the fun and laughter.
We want the fun, the laughter, the love and the light, don't we? So
we do indeed. But as I say, next week we're going to do an angel meditation, aren't we?
Yeah,
we're going to talk about the angels, our guardian angels, and you know, angels do walk the earth. They come into our lives at special times when we know they're needed. So we thought that'd be quite uplifting.
Would be, yeah, from one end to the other. So we've gone from the darker and the ghosts and the darker energies, so we're going to go for the light and the angels, aren't we? So
we do.
Looking forward to that one, aren't we?
So as I say, check your homes out, check yourselves out. If anything doesn't feel right, your gut feeling, if something isn't right, act on your gut feeling.
Your gut feeling is always right, isn't it? So always go with it. So we hope you found this very useful and informative, don't we?
We do. I hope it wasn't too heavy for you, but unless we put the knowledge out, you're never going to know, are they?
No, that's true. So like I say, that's been lovely sharing that information with you, and we hope that you find it really useful. So.
And lots of love and light to all of you.
Take care, everybody.
And we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Let's turn it off.